everyone, and welcome to another completed pages video. Here I show you my completed pages for the month of February, including my body colors. My name is Katja, I'm CatColouring, and a warm welcome here on this channel today. Grab yourself a nice cup of coffee or a warm mug of tea, and let's get started with this one. Let's begin with my body color here in the book Magical Dragons by Elina T. And I just have to find the right page, because I'm also working on the March page. But this one here, this is the page here for February, and that was the water dragon that I chose. And you can see here I have chosen to color this one purple, because the water is blue. I had originally thought of the dragon as a blue dragon, but you know, the water is blue and the sky is also blue, a lighter blue color. So I thought that some sort of a dark purple with a touch of violet would be a very good color for this water dragon. And I'm very pleased with how this one turned out. I used my Everstar London pencils, and they actually worked really nicely in this coloring here. And on this paper in this book, I hadn't anticipated it, but they really worked rather nicely here on this paper. You can also see I have used a lot of white Posca with all of these water drops and splashes here from the water and the waves clashing in on the cliffs, and the water dragon sort of, you know, you can sort of sense the movement in this dragon speeding through the water here. So now I will just show you Jamie's dragon, and we actually thought a little bit alike here. So you can see that Jamie chose the dark blue colors that I had originally thought about for the dragon, for his dragon, and then colored the ocean and the sky a lighter blue color. He used his Zoo Color coloring pencils, and I think that this worked out also very nicely. And now I can actually see what the dragon would look like if it had been colored with blue colors. So thank you so much, Jamie from Disney Coloring and Jamie, for this body color. I can't wait for our next one. Another body color of mine was here in Romantic Country, the second tale. And this is a watercolor book I have with Lilli from Instagram, and she is from the UK. And we decided to do this page here, this double page spread here. Well, it's quite a mouthful to do double page spreads in this book. As you wrote to me, there is a lot of tree, and this tree certainly was really, really big. I used my Munguyu soft pastels for the background here. So I used green and a little blue and some ochre down here and a light green here, because this is just a large area, and well, you could also have used watercolors, but well, I wasn't actually quite sure if this paper does it, so I want to try with watercolors on a smaller area, just to figure out what the paper is like with water. So I use the soft pastels because I know how they work. And then I use Prismacolors for the rest. And actually no white Posca, although I did use a black fine liner to the writing here on the sign, which is Magic Potion. And this is a double page spread for chapter 4, The Witch and the Hidden Secret Forest. And as you can see, I have used my gray colors, which I normally don't do, but I use the gray colors both with the bricks here on both sides of the door, and I use them here for the house. I tried to give the house sort of a warm, cozy atmosphere, and I think that if you color glass here with a blue or light gray color, it looks kind of dull. So I really tried to make it a cozy atmosphere, although it's still day. But you can see I used a darker green background color here, because in the forest it's a bit darker than outside of the forest. I also played a lot with light and shadows here. You can see the shadows here on the house, on the grass here, with the tree shadowing, and around the tree, and with these little bricks here, this path. And then I thought that I would change the color palette here with all of these vases here. So I used some blue colors and then some more ochre colors here. Ochre and, well, terracotta colors here for this. And I kept the leaves coloring quite dark, actually. So the lightest of the green colors is here with the grass here, where the sun shines through here. And then we have this little bird here. So I am actually quite satisfied with this coloring here. And with the tree, you can see the moss here on the tree. You can see how it's sort of old and a bit crooked, and where it goes in here, and you have this little window here. The mushrooms on the tree here. So I really think that this turned out rather nicely, and I'm really happy that I have begun coloring in Romantic Country too, because I've had these books for a couple of years and I haven't colored in them. So I can't wait to see what page we pick for the month of March and then get going on that page. But this was really a pleasure, and the Prismacolors work really nicely on this paper, and you can see I have layered them a lot. I mean, I think I layered them about 7 or 8 times with the tree alone. So it took quite a while. It took some days to make this one, but I'm really happy with the result here. Small Victories by Johanna Basford, and that is because I also had a body color here, and this was a body color with my good American friends DeAnn and Kathleen. And just let me tell you, this was the most fun coloring I have had in years. As you can see, this is really special. It's the boat page, and I actually picked this page. And you can see I have some flags here. So the task, because we always have tasks, DeAnn, Kathleen, and I, when we do body colors. So the task was to find 3 different flags from, of course, 3 different countries, and then only use the colors from the flags in coloring a boat each. So this flag was from Dominica. And you can see here I have called this ship MS Dominica. And I don't think you can see it here, but there is a middle of the flag, and I think it's a parrot, it's a bird, which is both yellow and blue and green. And then there are some, I think it's stars here around it, on green stars on a red background. So actually I have a lot of colors in this flag, both the green, black, yellow, white, blue, and red. And of course, I used all of these colors in this coloring. And I think that the result was really, really nice here. This flag is from Azerbaijan. And you can see I called the ship MS Azerbaijan. And it has only got 4 colors, white and blue, red and green. A lot of flags actually only have 2, 3, or perhaps 4 colors. But this one turned out really nicely, the green, both with the plants and the boat here. And then I used the white to here on the umbrella. And I used, of course, the blue here. So I think the result here was also very nice. And so this last boat down here is, this flag is Belize, and I called the boat, well, MS Belize, of course, and it has both blue and red on it, and then it has here in the middle some green. I think it's some sort of leaves or something, and then there are a couple of people and a sort of coat of arms with a lot of different colors. And that meant that I had yellow and a light peach. I had both a light brown and a darker brown, and also, yes, of course, the white and the red and the blue. So this was really, really fun to color. And I do meet a lot of colorists out there, and they say, oh, I don't know how to begin this page. I'm short of ideas. I don't know how to do it. Well, give yourself a fun task, a task of some sort, like this one, for example, the colors of the flags of countries in the world. And then you can do African countries or Asian countries or South American countries, perhaps not European countries, because they almost have the same sort of colors. But this could be an idea for opening up a page like this and doing it. This was so much fun, and I actually did it in quite I only think it took me about an hour and a half or 2 hours to make this one, and then it was done. It was so much fun. Really, really fun. Great idea. So if you think this is fun or weird, wait until you see the page we have picked out for the month of March and hear about the task there. There's no end to it. It's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. This page I just colored because I tried my new Bruin-Till coloring pencils and did this page for my review of them, just to try them out on a couple of small drawings here in this book, and they just work like a dream on this paper. So just a fun, and also this was at a time when I was really tired of winter, so I thought that I would use some pastel colors and, you know, a bit golden colors. So this was just also a fun, quick drawing here. So that was my body colors. So let's take a look at some of the other things I have done. And this is from Nightfall by Maria Trolle. And I did this double page spread as a color along for my members on YouTube here, my coloring community. And it was, of course, voted for by my members. So they voted for Maria Trolle. And I chose this page in Nightfall, which is actually also a very, very beautiful coloring book, and also one of the first ones that Maria Trolle made. So in this, we still find these huge motifs, which are not, you know, sort of framed in and small and, well, simple. So these are the drawings I really like in her coloring books. And I use my Prismacolor pencils and some white Posca to blur the lines here of these flowers, and I also used a yellow Posca for the stamens in here, and then I used some stickles on the wings of this dragonfly and on the wings of the bee. So this is my Flowers and Landscapes of the World by Aikawa Sora, and I colored the last of the winter pages here, and this page took, and I mean it forever, it took me a week to color this one with the Aurora. So I used my Charisma coloring pencils, and these are the Japanese oil-based pencils, and they really worked rather nicely on this paper compared to the Prismacolors I had used earlier on. So oil-based pencils really do work a lot better on this paper than the wax-based ones. I used my super golden markers for these stars, and I used my black Pit Artist brush pen to make the background more black. And then I used glitter gel pens for some of the details here in this turquoise part of the Aurora and the pink part of the Aurora, and also some of the stars here. And of course, I also used quite a lot of white Posca here with the trees covered in snow. And for the coloring pencils, as I said, I used the Charisma oil-based pencils here. So this was a double page spread here with Sweden. I think that there are also some more spring-like pages in this book, so I might actually pick out some pages and do here during the spring months, but I can't remember it right now. But I'm really, really happy that I got to do the last wintry page here in this book, because now that's done. But as I said, it took really forever, and it was especially these parts with the Aurora. It took really, really long time to make it, and also to think about how I wanted to do it. But I'm really happy that I did that page. I also did a page here in The Other Romantic Country, the first one here. And it was this page. And this was also a color along for members of my coloring community here on YouTube. And I sort of tried to do, you know, I have done a page last year, this one, Old Rose Tea Room, last year as a, was it a color along, or I actually think it was a beginner tutorial on my channel where I drew all of these bricks in the building and colored it. So I tried to use some of the same colors for the roses and the sky and, you know, the chairs and so on from this page on this one. And I think that I actually succeeded in doing so. And I think it's a really nice page, this one. Of course, it's not quite the same as the other page, but I think it's a really nice light spring or summery feeling you get when you see this page. So that was a fun one to do. And I'm also really happy that I have begun coloring in this book. And it was also colored with my Prismacolors. And, well, they work really nicely on this paper. They're really nice to blend here, like here on the grass. So that was this book. And then we have my Magical Worlds book. So I have done some pages in this one, and I did it because I did a comparison in the beginning of the month between the Munguyu oil pastels and the Van Gogh oil pastels. So, and the first page was this one with the Munguyu oil pastels. Perhaps you have seen it, the comparison, or otherwise you might want to see it. And then, of course, I painted or colored the rest of the coloring here. But you can see the entire background was done with the Munguyu soft oil pastels here. And then I used my Prismacolors for the rest, and also my Super Golden markers for this hummingbird, because they are so very shiny. So I didn't want to use pencils on that. And just a little bit of white Posca here, and then stars in the background. I think it turned out rather nicely. And I really like the color palette with the sort of pink and purple background. I really like that. I also did, just have to find it. Oh, I really have to find it. It's way down here. This was the other page, and this one, I don't think I have posted it yet on my social media. This is the background done with the Van Gogh oil pastels, and I just have to say that after this one, I really do think that I prefer the Van Gogh oil pastels, because they are way softer to use and blend. You can see the blending here. It's so nice here with the sunset and the ocean down here. So the Van Gogh oil pastels, and then I use my Prismacolors for the rest here. And because this is sort of a night scene, but I know that hot air balloons, they can't fly during the night. I chose a sunset scene in the background, and I made this background because these hot weather balloons, at least here in Denmark, they always fly in the sky before sunset. So when the sun sets, then it's time for them to land. So they begin in the early evening or late afternoon, around 6 or 7 o'clock, and then they can fly until, well, 10 o'clock or something, until the sun sets, before it gets dark. So I really like how this one turned out. I think it was a wonderful, colorful sunset here. And then this one was done in one of my color and chats, and it's finished. And you can see this was done with my Brute Funo macarons, and this was a color and chat where I showed you how to use washi tape in your coloring books to create, you know, lines, so you can create little rooms for pages like this, where you have all of these little motifs. And what are you going to do about them? Well, you could, you know, make rooms for each using washi tape and then color them here. And I chose the same color palette for the 5 castles here and another for these ones to, so it wasn't completely different. And of course I used them on different places in the drawings, but it is the same colors here in these 5 drawings and here in these 4 drawings. But I have just colored them, you know, differently. So I really like this page. I think it was a good idea, and I think that I will continue to use washi tape and do it in different ways here, and also showing you how you can use them to, you know, play with your coloring pages and do something different with them. And I will show you a little sneak peek. This is the page for my body color in March, but I will not tell you what we are going to do about it. You will have to wait to my completed pages video for March to see what we are going to do with that page. And now for my Hanna Karlzon books. And here we have seasons, and I have colored, well, I did want to color a lot in this book, but I only did 2 colorings, and I actually blew it a little bit here. There's blue line there, and I can't really get rid of it. So I don't know what I did, but suddenly it was just there. So this was a coloring where I decided I would not have a background, because, you know, with some drawings you do a background, and others you just think, well, this one I didn't want to give a background. I thought I would just color the birds and this and just be done with it. So this was done with my Prismacolors. I think that this month of February has been a real Prismacolor month, because they were on my desk and it was way more easy to use them than grabbing another coloring pencil brand. And of course I also used a little bit of white Posca here and a little bit of glitter here for these little dots here. But otherwise that was it. And then I did, well, not this page obviously, but this one. And this one I think was okay. I used my Neocolor 2s. I have really begun using my Neocolor 2s since I discovered them at the bottom of my shelf. So now they are in front of, well, at the front of my shelf where I can see them, so I can use them. And I did the background with the Neocolors, and then I used my Prismacolors, and also some super golden markers. Where did, oh, just for the, you know, dots there, not very much, and the star here. And then of course I used my Posca here, and then some glitter gel pen here for the bird. So I colored the crystals in each side, and then I thought perhaps I should do the rest of the drawing with these colors. So I began with this sort of palace castle here, and then I had another thought. I also did the background with the turquoise colors, and then I thought, but this one is clearly Nordic. It looks like a staved church or staved church, and I can't make that turquoise or pink or purple. So I did change the color palette, and then I chose some more wooden colors for this one, with some burnt ochre, sienna, terracotta, and some umber colors here, and then the yellows to give a warm shine from all of these windows here. And the ocean, different sorts of blues, and then I combined the violet and blue colors with the bird to try to, you know, blend it more together, and, you know, have some blue, violet up here and the blue down here and so on, so it wouldn't be, you know, too much. But I'm actually glad that I did this this coloring. So I have actually done quite a few of the winter pages in the season, this winter season here. So and you can see I have already marked out quite a few pages for spring. So perhaps I will actually have time to do a coloring plans for March, or for spring at least, we will see. But that was seasons. More Hanna Karlzon Magical Dawn, and you can see I have actually managed to color some here in this book. So let me just find the first pages here. This one, this page was the February page in our Colorions Ensemble Magical Dawn, and I made the mistake of watching the finished coloring of another colorist on Instagram, and she had colored the cat black. It was Colorista Passionista, and it was really, really beautiful with this black cat. And then I thought, oh, so I cannot make my cat black because I couldn't, you know, the same. And then I had colored this page because I thought that, well, this page with the flowers was a page I think they had already done this page. I think that it had been colored, so I thought that, well, perhaps I should just color this one. And then I chose some, you know, spring-like colors because I am really in the mood for spring. And then I began with this one, and then I thought, well, how can I match this? Not completely, but I did choose some green colors for the background, and then made a sort of more ginger cat with a lot of ochre colors and burnt sienna and so on, to make it a reddish sort of cat. And then all of this jewelry, I really have it a bit, you know, tight with these pages. I think they're very difficult to color in Hanna Karlzon books. It's a huge animal, so a lot of fur, and then all of this jewelry. So it is a cat, but it's a bejeweled cat, if you can say that. So I used Prismacolors for this page and some stickles on this bee. And so I continued to use Prismacolors on this, but I grounded the whole thing with my Neocolor 2s. So I used Neocolor 2s for the background and the entire cat here with different colors. And then I used my Prismacolors on top of the Neocolor here to add some fur strokes. And I used my Super Golden markers and my pencil sparkle pops for all of this jewelry. And I decided to keep it, you know, sort of green and gold to match the cat and the background. And a lot of gold stars in the background with my, that was my gold Posca actually. And to color this like an emerald down here. So I think that I managed some, you know, with this page somehow. I also managed to do the eyes like real cat eyes and remove some of the things I didn't like about the eyes, but it really took a long time. And then I, of course, did these little hairs here and there. So I think it worked out, but it's not one of the pages I think it's great in this book. I have done other pages that I'm way more satisfied with. So this was well, I have to make it. Somehow I might as well do it now and get it over with. But this one, on the other hand, this was a real joy and treat to make. So I had a vote with my members of my coloring community on YouTube, and they had voted for a Hanna Karlzon page, and then also the Maria Trolle I showed you earlier. And I needed to do a page, and I thought, well, I might as well choose Magical Dawn, because I need to color a lot of the pages for the Colorions ensemble, which I hadn't done. And then I found this page, and then it was right around Valentine's Day, so I thought, why not do this as a Valentine's Day heart of some sort? And a little bit about watercolor, because I have used real watercolors, my Winsor & Newton watercolors for the background here. And I am a huge fan of CatColouring. You might know her because she's another YouTuber, although a lot of her coloring takes place on Patreon, where you can, of course, support her by paying a small amount of money. And then you can watch her colorings there, and then she makes small videos and put them on YouTube so you can see what she has done. But that is because when you are an artist and you know, have to make some money, then Patreon could be a very good solution. I, on the other hand, have chosen to have a coloring community on YouTube to, you know, sort of keep things in the same place here on YouTube. And you can also join my coloring community if you want to support me in my work further. Well, anyway, CatColouring, she has actually been one of my subscribers from when I was a really small channel. I only had a couple of 100 subscribers when she subscribed to my channel. So she has been one of my supporters throughout more than a year now. And I watch her videos, and the thing about CatColouring is that she is really, really good with watercolors, and I really admire that. So I have watched some of her watercolor videos, and then, well, I decided this page, now I'm going all in with the watercolors. So I use my masking tape here and there and everywhere, but you can see I did have a little bleed through here at the edges of this. You can also see it here, but it doesn't matter because I can do another background here. That is perhaps one of these things you don't see in the watercolor videos. Well, there is some bleed through here, but I also have to say I use quite a lot of watercolor on this one, and it was so much fun. So I can understand why Nicosimi does it all the time, because it's really, really fun to use actual watercolors here on this paper. So I mixed and blended a couple of different pinks and a little bit of lilac here, but mostly pink colors. For the entire background here. And then I use my Prismas for the heart itself and the ruby here inside of this heart. And I use a little bit of white Posca for the dots here in the flowers and a little bit of glitter gel pen here. But otherwise it's just Prismacolors and watercolor. And of course I also used white Posca for these dots. But all of this is just made with pencil, and I'm really, really happy about this page, and I'm really, really proud of this page because I think that the result was actually good, both with the background and especially here with the jewel and what's inside it here. I really think that I nailed it with the shadows here and also here in this ruby. So I'm really proud of this page and I like it. I think it's actually, I think it was the best page I did this month. The funniest page was the boat page from Small Victories, but I think this one was the best one. And I also have just one other here. This one also done with my, I think, oh no, this was not done with Neo colors. This was actually done with my Derwent Inktense for the background, some of my new colors. And then, of course, my Prismas, because it has been mostly a Prisma month for me. And then I did some small details with a little bit of some glitter gel pen. And then I have written white Posca. Oh, yeah, for all of these little dots here. So this was another day where I was in a spring mood and thought, oh my gosh, I want sun and spring and flowers. So I colored this with some really hopeful spring colors. And that was my Hanna Karlzon for this month. And now I don't know if you can say I have saved the best for last, but I have saved this book because finally, I have begun coloring in Fairytales and Folklore, which is something I have wanted, but I haven't had time, and I have had, well, didn't know quite how to do it. But this has also become one of my Instagram books, because I am a part of the Fairytales and Folklore Friends coloring group on Instagram, thanks to Dual Robot. And we color every 2 months. A picture or a drawing here is picked and voted for by us, and then we color it. So this was a page for December, and I haven't had time to color it yet. This is the page for, well, that was the first page they voted for, so that must be October, I think. And you can see it's a WIP, so I don't normally have WIPs, but I actually have this one because I began coloring it, I think a week and a half ago, perhaps 2 weeks ago, and I haven't, I'm not done with it. You can see the castle here, or not the castle, it's actually a church, because this is serpent, not a dragon. It's a serpent, the Lindworm, sleeping around the church and threatening to crush it and destroy it if people want to go to service there. But I did make the windows kind of really nice and warm to make people want to go to church. So if you want to know more about the stories behind the drawings here in Fairytales and Folklore, I would suggest that you watch my video, The Stories Behind Fairytales and Folklore coloring book. It's up on my playlist with, I think it's called Translated Flip-Throughs, but I can make a link down in the description box and also at the end of this video for that particular video. So go and watch it. It's, it's really enlightening, and it's because I know a lot of the same stories and folklore that Emilie Lille Haløberg knows, because she's from Sweden, I'm from Denmark, and some of the things are actually the same. I know the same stories and legends she does, so I have tried to explain what's behind the stories in this book. But a WIP, and I still need to color that serpent, but I haven't had time. If you are wondering, I can't remember the background. Perhaps it was Neocolor. I think it was Neocolor too. It could also have been Derwent Inktense, but the background isn't really done yet. It's just the first layer. I use Chroma Flows as pencils, the Chroma Flows, and they work okay here on this paper. If you have seen my recent video with my colored pencil collection, so I'm not quite sure about how I feel about these Chroma Flows but I am trying. And, the page for February I did complete. And it's here. Not that one, but this one. And here we have the two little mice sailing away in their teacups here. Or they could also be coffee cups. It's difficult to see. So I, again, am longing for spring, so I choose a lot of pastel colors for this one. I was really in a pastel color mood here at the end of February. And I used my Neocolor 2s for the background, and then I used my Brut Funer Macarons, the pastel colors here. And I just have to say that the Brut Funer Macarons, they work really, really nicely on this paper. But I have heard from some that some thinks that a lot of different coloring pencils work on the paper, and a lot of other people have actually got really difficulties using their normal coloring pencils on this paper. I've heard that Prismacolors, they don't work too well on this paper, and also the Polychroma. So you will have to experiment and find out what coloring pencils you would like to use on this really nice thick paper in this book. But the Brut Funer Macarons, they were really easy to work with on this book. Perhaps it's because they are oil-based. I have a sneaking suspicion it might be that, because I do think that the surface is quite smooth, and then oil-based pencils work best. The Brut Funers were very easy to layer on this paper, so that is also nice to know. So, but I really like this one. I haven't found the one. We have just voted for the next, and I would really like to show you it, but I haven't had time to find it. So if you will bear with me, I will just flick through this book, because I can clearly remember, wasn't that one, but it was an Easter page we picked for April. Here it was actually. So this page, I just have to find here and mark the page here. So this page, and I also voted for this one, this beautiful page with the rabbit here, a bunny, and the flowers, and a couple of Easter eggs, is our April page. And there was an overwhelming majority that voted for this page. So I cannot wait to begin coloring this one. Beautiful, beautiful page here. So that was all of my completed pages for the month of February. Thank you so much for watching this completed pages video. I hope you enjoyed it. Well, I certainly enjoyed coloring it, and I enjoyed showing it to you, perhaps to inspire you in your own coloring journey. I hope that you will write down in the comments which page was your favorite, and please remember you can always tag me on social media. I would love to see your pages of colorings you have done. Perhaps the same as mine, perhaps others. Upcoming videos on my channel, well, more reviews are coming, color and chats, and they are voted for by you. And I have a new video series cooking, but I will not tell you what it's all about, but I can guarantee you that it will be something that is very, very useful for colorists, both beginners and more practiced colorists. Well, until I see you in the next video, have a lovely day, and remember, take care of yourself. Happy coloring. Bye.